Hello. I think
Hello.
we're in the room.
We are. I'm in a different room today. New setup. Got records above us just to prove that we like records and to remind people what sort of podcast we have.
I'm in the same old room. Bit jealous of your sofa. We sat in
You've
front
got
of the
a
sofa.
sofa.
Saw you on the sofa, and I'm like, what am I doing? Why
What
am
are
I
you doing?
sitting? I don't have a coffee table.
You need a coffee table. The possibilities after that are endless. I'm excited to be doing another episode as always. We have got a little bit of rambling to do, maybe some records, and we're going to be chatting a little bit about our journey through postponing our streaming service subscriptions and how we're getting on with that. I haven't got a lot of good news, if I'm honest.
Oh no.
I'm really disappointed in myself, but yeah,
It's all good.
it's week 2. There's always going to be setbacks in this journey to sobriety. So, what's new then, Bill? How's your week been, and how has music influenced your week or been involved in your week?
Yeah, man. I had a good weekend. I got some records out. I was listening to some music. I had a good experience with that, I think. I mentioned at the end of the last episode that I would be going to look on the search for some records, and did get one that I got.
Oh, very
yeah.
fitting.
So I got
Amazing.
myself. I went to the store with the intention of finding either an early Black Sabbath album or a jazz record featuring Elvin Jones on drums. So probably a John Coltrane. And I went to our old friend at the Mercury Store, if you remember him.
The kitchen sink guy?
Yeah.
I didn't know he does good records.
Yeah, no, to be fair, he's got quite a good collection of classic rock. You know, he's got a section dedicated to Beatles, a section dedicated to Elvis, a section, but yeah, a good corner for classic rock. And he's got a load of classical records, which I guess kind of look a bit untouched. They're a bit hard to like browse through. I think that they've just kind of accumulated and not really been sold as much.
I'm not surprised with that. It's weird, classical records, isn't it? Because classical records, there is a market for it, and some of them are really valuable.
Yeah, no, of course. I just wonder if the culture of record collecting exists with that audience. I don't know.
The way in which the culture has evolved in music, or music that we know today, for the most part, the path that records have taken in terms of collecting them, going to the store, buying your favorite band's new album and their promotion towards that and their brand in a way, isn't it? Each band and artist kind of has their own individual brand that's assigned to the records that get released. But in classical music, that doesn't exist.
If I was
I wish
to make,
it did.
Yeah. No, I reckon there was abundance of classical records in the heyday of vinyl printing and pressing, you know, when vinyl records was the only way to consume music. You know, I can imagine there would have been a lot of vinyl for classic being pressed at the time, especially for like older audiences. And then probably as classical music is less popular than more contemporary styles of music these days, the demand for the classical record isn't as high as the amount of records that exist in the world.
I'd agree with that. I never thought of it. We'll look into that. Yeah, I'm sure there is a niche fan base for it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, for good reason, because it's far out of our sort of
expertise.
Yeah, I think it's something.
Maybe that can be our next challenge. Something along the lines of a classical record that we love. Challenging yourselves to actually do a bit of research about it and kind of think about the composers we might be into, and then see if we can find the record.
You could play the same game that we play with the records we know with that, because what was the only thing that I've dabbled with in the last year is that RZA album. Remember I mentioned how he wrote a ballet and then went on tour with it and then brought out a record that was just completely classical. Yeah, I really enjoyed that, and it kind of did feel some sort of movement from it. It's strange. It's like trying to understand a different language.
It's probably just exposure, and like you kind of need to develop an ear for it. Some of it probably resonates quite naturally, but compared to sitting down and listening to a 3-minute pop song, is gonna kind of probably spark faster dopamine hit maybe than listening to a half-hour symphony or whatever.
Yeah. I feel like it's just been shunned from the modern day society for it to be acceptable. It's almost like it's not a genre, it's a complete alternate thing.
I've met people that are into classical and who would identify. I mean, for example, there were some musicians at the Birmingham Conservatoire who were in the orchestra there, so they were obviously into their classical. The guy who first started teaching me drums, he loved rock music, but he also loved classical music. He actually seemed maybe more animated when talking about classical pieces than. And if you've ever, like, not long ago, I went with a friend to a theatre. Like, we kind of just booked a ticket because we were in the town that day, just because it was an old theatre and it'd be nice architecture and just, something to do, like, while away. And there was, a recital there. It's a big theatre full of people. So it does exist. We just aren't in those bubbles.
That's it, man. And I think we should be. It's shameful to say that I don't know enough about classical music, but I don't think I'm alone. And yeah, maybe something to venture into, look into.
Maybe we can do a Hear Me Out classical special.
That's a great idea. That's an amazing idea. Right, okay. That's coming soon.
Wicked.
In fact, I'm going to scrap everything else I'm doing. Okay, so you went to, what was it called again? Mercury Stores.
Went up to the guy and was like, can I see the records?
Kitchen sink. No.
And then he walked towards the back and looked at me. He's like, have you been here before? And I was like, yep. He's like, okay.
Oh, no.
But he didn't give me an introduction or tour last time, so I've still missed out on that, I feel like.
But the first time you went, he didn't say, have you been here before?
No.
So
He just let me in.
Tour. You didn't say, here's the sink?
No, he didn't show me anything.
Fuck.
But yeah, so I was in there to look for either, like I said, Black Sabbath or Elvin Jones. I checked there, and I did find Black Sabbath pretty fast, actually. So I was like, okay, wicked. Okay, let me just see if I can find Elvin Jones. Anyway, I was having a look around trying to find the jazz section, and I was like, where is it? And I didn't look next to the kitchen sink at first because I remembered last time that had been where the singles were. But lo and behold, I finally looked next to the sink, and there was the jazz records. So he's done a reorganization. He's rejigged it.
Yeah, he's put the goodies next to the sink.
I didn't find any La Bionda singles this time.
Fair play for looking. One for you, one for me.
I'm surprised you
Such
remember
a
so
catchy
well. I did find a John Coltrane record there, and it did have Elvin Jones on it, but it was just 3 tracks, and it was 2 live recordings, which Elvin Jones wasn't on.
Yeah.
And then 1 studio track with Elvin Jones, and that was like €40 or something. And I thought, well, considering that I'm looking for an Elvin Jones record, maybe I'll look for another one.
Bill, is it? Is it all new? Is it used vinyl, like vintage vinyl?
Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, I know that those Coltrane records can go for a lot. You're telling me that the Black Sabbath record you have is an early pressing?
It is, yes. So this is a repressing, but from 1976.
Decent.
I think the original came out in 71. I want to say 71.
Decent to get it in the 70s. That's incredible, man. That's really cool.
It's really good. Yeah, it's really nice. The disc is like, there's no scratches or marks or anything. There was maybe a bit of damp on it or a bit of moisture on it.
That's alright, gives it character.
But I cleaned it and it's all good. So.
Nice. Let's have a look. What's it on? Oh, it's on NEMS, right? Yeah.
Nice. So I didn't know much about NEMS before. I looked it up afterwards. They repressed a bunch of stuff in the 70s and 80s on apparently cheaper vinyl. So did like budget releases. So
they went bust in the end, I think. Because remember when I showed my Masters of Reality one on the pod? It was on NEMS. So it's the same sort of thing. I looked into it. I was like, yeah, it's like, I forgot now what. It was kind of like now that's what I call, like, I don't know, like, no, is it? No, well, not really.
I looked it up, and apparently it was a label run by, I forgot, manager of the Beatles or something related to the Beatles.
Oh yeah.
But apparently there was like some kind of like licensing loopholes with the Sabbath material because
Yeah.
I don't know. They basically just took advantage of some situation where they were able to get the license for the early Black Sabbath stuff, and they repressed them on cheaper vinyls.
Yeah.
It's in good nick, and the songs are obviously just as good. So,
Brian Epstein,
right.
the Beatles manager, it was his company and came after his death, which is really confusing me.
Well, I guess the label was still running after he died.
True.
Yeah.
I'm looking.
Is it all Sabbath?
So they must have found like a loophole for Sabbath records.
I think Sabbath weren't well managed.
I know that Don Arden was involved.
Yes.
He did some dodgy dealings.
Yeah.
Sharon Osbourne's dad.
Yeah. After reading his biography, apparently they didn't even get any cash in the early days. If they ever wanted anything, they had to call him up and was like, "Can you just buy me a Ferrari, please?" And it would just
No way. I'm seeing other records now, but it is a lot of metal as well. So maybe they found a loophole with like metal music. If anybody else knows more about it, let us know. But yeah, I think it is interesting that they managed to find a little bit of a loophole.
Just to add, it is gatefold as well, though, so it is nice.
Hey, look at that, man! Nice.
But yeah, in the spirit of early classical rock, I just take this one out of my collection and go, this is Finn as well.
Nice, classic.
This is also...
Oh, look at that.
And this one is actually pressed the year it came out.
Is it a plum label?
No, it's Atlantic.
Is it? Yeah, but is it the plum coloured ones? No, it's green and yellow. Orange.
Yeah.
Nice. I've seen some super rare ones that are like a plum label or something.
Right.
Sorry.
This is where the tool comes in.
Yes, the handy tool that Billy's gone ahead and used. Oh wait, hey, like you couldn't have picked a worse album to use the tool for.
Why?
You bought Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath.
No, it worked for both of them.
That's obviously the tool is
The tool is
very
good, man.
sophisticated. Yeah.
I just typed in Black Sabbath. There was a slight. Then I searched this record on the tool, and then it says.
You want to share your screen?
Because I'm getting it wrong. It's not like it. Couldn't find release. Did I spell it wrong?
Got me to have a go. Oh, there we go.
Oh wait, that's what I need to do.
Oh,
That's that's the price for an original copy. And given that this came out in the same year, even though it's not an original pressing, I thought, wow, maybe this is worth something. But then when I actually looked up this pressing, it was like 30 quid.
Yeah, I think that'd be the one with those plum labels that I was talking about.
I think there's a problem with this description as well.
The entitled fourth studio album by the English rock group Led Zeppelin.
The word is wrong.
Commonly known as Led Zeppelin 4.
But also, this isn't the fourth studio album, is it?
No, it's 2. Was released in November. No, it's giving you the description for Led Zeppelin 4.
Yep.
So whoever owns this and runs this trusty tool, but we're going to inform them to kind of just work on that, and I'm sure they will. In no time, I'm sure they're going to have it just sorted. It's just going to be fine. In the meantime, just check out the site anyway. You might as well. Well, obviously, it's fitting because it's a great album. The Black Sabbath album. Led Zeppelin 2, obviously, is amazing as well.
There was a documentary out this weekend in the cinemas.
Yeah.
Becoming Led Zeppelin. I heard some friends that went. From the sounds of it, it was a good film. If you're a big Led Zeppelin nerd, apparently might not have a lot of stuff that you haven't already seen, but it's well made and enjoyable.
Definitely go and check that out. I imagine they've got it going on at Mockingbird or something. Cinema, maybe.
I don't know. Check it out.
Check it out. With the Sabbath record, it's obviously fitting because of what's happened that we mentioned in the last episode, which is the last gig at the time of recording this. By the time this comes out, it's probably going to be long gone since this being like news. But yeah, we're trying to get tickets. Currently not successful. as most of the world because they're in high demand. I'm just hoping they do another date
Yeah.
through
Be
popular demand. I wouldn't be surprised.
The only question would be, will it be possible for there to be another date? I feel like
He's
a big,
dropping.
it's demanding already. He's doing 2 sets. Sabbath, it's Ozzy Osbourne set and the Black Sabbath set.
Really?
It's billed as both on the poster.
Well, yeah, and obviously he's really not doing good. He's in quite a debilitating condition. He's probably going to be sat down.
But you have to see him play, so what's more important?
Yeah, this is it. No, obviously, Ozzy, if you've only got the 1 gig in you, fair enough. But it's just a shame because it's on home soil, man. Anyway, there's still a chance we're going to try and nab some in general admission. Which
And
probably,
pre-sale.
And pre-sale. There's a pre-sale tomorrow. So yeah, we'll see. What else has been going on? I've got some confessions to make about our journey in quitting Spotify. Forgive me, Billy, but I have sinned this week.
What have you done?
I was in the car, and oddly enough, I was in the mood for some country music.
Okay.
So I initially was like, well, I'm not going to get my fix on the radio for that. It's quite niche, and there's not a country radio station in my car. So I've opened Spotify and searched for an album, found one, and then I listened to it on Spotify.
Oh, Clark, no. The album I was going to forgive.
It felt like a drug that I hadn't took in ages, and then
you got all that dopamine.
I got so much dopamine off it. It was amazing. It was just what I wanted. It was, euphoric. But I want to make a point, right? I'm going to go back again to not doing it. But I want to make a point that it's about balance. It felt good to do that in the way that I did. But up until that point, it wasn't my main port of call of enjoying music. So with the right balance, I think you could enjoy the playlist on Spotify more. I found a lot of fulfillment from it, but in excess you don't. So everything in moderation, it's like everything, isn't it? So it was it was a lesson to realise that, but also equally I do feel bad, and I'm going cold turkey again. I'm just going to maybe try. I've got these trigger points. It's like when I go in the car, or when I'm going to try and get things set up so that doesn't happen again.
You kind of get the chance to appreciate it more because you haven't had it. Like if you hadn't had this experience of trying to avoid it, and you probably wouldn't even remember that you had listened to country music on that car journey. Whereas now you had a euphoric experience with it, which is probably more than you can say for most car journey music listening experiences you had prior to the experiment.
Yeah, good point, man. I think initially there was a weird euphoria last week with picking the albums I was playing. Yeah. Then there's a different sense of euphoria with letting Spotify take the reins a bit.
Yeah.
It feels different. I personally found that it was beneficial to dabble with both during that.
But that's what this whole experiment's about, isn't it? It's stepping back and observing more what our habits are and all to have a more fulfilling experience from it and not just passively existing
Absolutely.
in this space. I maybe have a bit of a confession as well.
Oh, here we go. See, I'm curious. Would this confession have come out if I weren't so honest just now and humble? No, I'm sure it would have.
I maybe haven't really considered it properly yet, and I've kind of just ignored that it's really a cheat or whatever. I have an alarm. My morning alarm is basically just like my Alexa is just triggered to play Spotify. And the playlist kind of comes on. I don't actually pay attention to it.
That's even what? It's like you're letting it completely take the reins. You're not even conscious, and then you are. And it's like, hello, Billy. Welcome to another day where I will control your listening experience. I'm going Black Mirror with it a little bit. But,
because I've found having a playlist being a great alarm in the morning, not as a music listening experience, but just as a way to wake up in the morning.
No, fair
Because
enough, man.
rather than having a really aggressive fucking wake up thing,
Yeah, it's good to build.
the playlist is just on a really low volume, and it's
Yeah.
more it's time to wake up. If I've gone to bed on time, then I wake up on time, and I know it's time for waking up.
Yeah, fair play, man.
I'm surprised it's still working, to be honest. I thought it would stop working after I cancelled my subscription, but
That's
it
a point.
has just been working for some reason.
Have you managed that?
Probably just because it's been set for so long like that. It's just forgot to check if it's logged in.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Well, we've both sinned this week. Mine is clearly worse, but we're working on it.
If you listen to country music,
Yeah.
couldn't you find a country radio station?
Yes. I could have been rootin' tootin' on a DAB radio station before you know it. I could have been just getting my country on, guilt-free.
And I guess
That's
but
the easy route.
that raises the question of where do we draw the line? Because if you get to the point where digging out niche radio stations to like the playlist, just to find a playlist. Oh, this one's a radio station, not a playlist. Even though it's just 24/7 country music with no talking.
Yeah, no, I think it's about choice of conversation. It's about connection between people and saying, look, I found this, give it a listen. I think it's detached a little bit, but there's no reason that you can't benefit from both. And I think that's what I'm starting to realise. Given the day and age that we're in, it's like you've literally got pencil in a day to discover a new album. Because if you don't, then you won't.
Well, I think part of the project would be each week we make an effort either to find a new album or to revisit an old favourite.
Yeah.
So for me, last week it was Black Sabbath. I didn't own it, so I went out and bought it. I did pay more for it than I think I should have done. It cost me €50.
That's on the higher end.
It
Looks
is.
like it's in good nick though.
Things tend to be a bit more expensive in Malta as well because we're
Fair enough.
a small island in the middle of nowhere.
And look, at the moment, man, I mean, that thing is in demand. You could probably sell that. Swap it for some tickets.
I doubt anyone here is getting a ticket.
I don't think you buy a beer at the stadium with that.
Yeah. But I'm still happy I bought it. But I think my budget for music for the rest of the month now is kind of wiped out.
Fair enough. But it's still a good choice, man. It's a great album. And so, okay. I guess that wraps it up.
I think that's good.
Yeah, we're going to continue our journey of trying our very best to consume more physical forms of media. And I'm going to keep you updated.
It's consuming digital media as well.
I've been listening to a lot of NTS and I'll find a song on the radio station that I really like and then I'll Shazam it. I've never really used Shazam, but now I am. And I guess that is a new way of music discovery. To be fair, I much prefer doing that than, just having a playlist on the background and then just thinking, because you know what it is, if it's on Spotify and I can find it, oh, I like that song, I'll go ahead and find it. And then you get lost in the ether of the playlist.
I kind of just add song, like on Spotify, if I hear a song that I like, I would click add to liked songs. But then I just kind of had this list of liked songs that I didn't really know anything about. Maybe just heard it once or twice in passing and then forget the name of the artist or the song.
Yeah.
And don't develop that same bond with the music like I did with the albums that I got excited for before.
Yeah.
I think we've got an interesting challenge. Maybe we can do the record next week. The classical Hear Me Out.
Yeah, let's do that.
That'll be an excuse to dig out something new.
Yeah, I think I've got some in the loft actually. Failing that, I'm going to hit up a charity shop. Or, if I can't find an actual record, because I just want to buy one now that we're talking about it. We're just going to try and find an album that resonates with us. We're going to have to spend the whole week listening to classical music.
No.
And how are we going to do that?
Like a series, like it's an evolution. See where we, this is week 1. And then maybe in a month or 2, we can do part 2 and see how classical evolution has come along. I think Mac counts as classical, right?
It's pretty much the same. Isn't that like Mozart? Isn't
I think so.
Mozart in Fleetwood Mac?
He was Fleetwood.
Mozart Fleetwood. It was the drummer, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
He's on that.
That's him. That's it. That's him before he was born.
Mick Fleetwood's son. But anyway, follow us on socials or don't. Stay tuned for more rambles next week and classical music stuff that I know you're going to love. If you're thinking, God, I could really do with some info on albums, go check out our site.
Check it out at unwave.net.
Check it out. Check out unwave.net. And yeah,
it's
just a bit of fun. Anything else?
No, I think that's good. It's been a pleasure as always.
Catch you later.
See you next week.
See you next week.